Hey guys, what's up? Taking a look at this Grayman, taking it down for a blade refinish, and just wanted to share my findings on the construction of this knife because I've never really looked into this knife, but I don't remember seeing much on Graymans, and it does void your warranty to take it apart. So I'd really rather save somebody the headache, if they don't want to do that and void their warranty. So this one's already here. Let's learn some things together. I want to go over some of the features that I see on this knife. Again, I've never used it, I've never cut with it, but what I can do is tell you what I see. I can tell you fit and finish is all of what a Sebenza is. Honestly, there was no blade play at all in this. Perfect action, and I just knew is very well built. But when I took it down, I was even more impressed, which is why I had to make this video. So one of the biggest things, you can order this with a titanium front scale or just a G10 scale. And I'm not sure if it has a titanium liner under the G10 version, so it would be like a XM18, or if it's just G10 on the top. Maybe you can research that if you are interested. So that would lighten it up a little bit, maybe give it a little more grip, although I think both sides titanium is awesome. This whole knife is all metal. There's no plastics or anything on this at all. So with that said, one thing I always look for in a hard use knife is female screws to hold it together, because titanium is a little bit soft, so you don't want to thread screws into the titanium. You can tap this titanium, but that's not really a great design to thread into the titanium. Maybe for a light duty pocket clip like is right here, it'd be okay, but still you can strip that, and it can cause problems. But the main construction of the knife, for me, I feel a lot more comfortable when I'm going into female screws that can be replaced. To me, this is just a much better option. And then you have your standoffs that go over it. A lot of companies are using this construction. Reeve uses this construction. Strider uses this construction. Not really a standoff because they do all G10 here. But anyways, female screw to your screw. So the other thing you're looking at, besides your really thick blade stock, much like a Hinderer or a Strider, you got it's strong because it's got this saber grind here, so it's kind of flat ground on the bottom and full thickness up here. Nice thick tip, but it looks like it would still penetrate pretty good. It's kind of a broad blade, but a hard use blade, I guess, is how you would classify it. A few things that really stand out to me. The Sebenza pivot. So it's got the same bushing system as a Sebenza. You can see it right there. So basically, if you don't have a Sebenza or you don't know what that's about, really quick, this slides into here, with absolute precision, no slop at all. But it also sticks out on either side, so your bronze phosphor washers can go on both sides, and you crank your pivot down as tight as possible, and you still have the perfect action. That's a really good design. It's I'm not too happy that the Sebenza is not going to do that anymore. So what else? We have a flow-through detent hole, which is just like a Strider, so you can see it's drilled all the way through the blade. A little hole right there. That way any mud, gunk, anything like that, in theory, just pushes out and you'll still have a detent holding the knife closed. Someone like me, I'll never use that feature, but it is nice to know it's there. Well, just drop the pivot. But anyways, let me show you something else that I really like. And this is why they don't like you taking apart their knives, because it's super easy to pinch a washer. I have to be really careful when I assemble it. Although I don't assemble these like this, I'll assemble it like a Reeve. That could be for another video. So you notice that the thumb studs are not the blade stop, but I don't think it's given anything up. This stop pin is very sturdy. It's drilled with absolute precision. There's no slop or anything in here. It sticks all the way through the titanium. I'm sorry guys, I had my good camera out and it ran out of batteries. So I gotta get this out before I do the work on the knife. So you can see this slides all the way through here on both sides. So it's a very strong stop pin. You're not going to shear this stop pin off. I think something else would happen. I almost think the blade would break on the blade, or the lock would buckle, or the lock would slip, or something like that before you sheared off both sides of the stop pin. It's not going to happen. Maybe you could blow through the titanium, but you're not going to rip titanium, you know. So, anyways, very strong design. They've got enough room up here to still have a lot of strength. I like how this is captured all the way around. See how this contacts around? So it takes this wearing surface. Some knives, they wobble out the stop pin. If this was straight and only contacting, alright, say this is straight and only contacting this area like this, this is going to get dents and stuff, and then that's where you get your lock rock, and your lock wears in and would start to travel over to the other side of the scale. This little detail like this is a much better option, because you're spreading that surface area, the shock surface area, all the way around, 25% way around the stop pin there. So that's the proper way to do a stop pin, I believe. Got beautiful lockup, a slight radius, not as severe as like Strider, and it locks up, contacts. You can see the wear mark on here. Contacts and touches most of the blade tang here. So that means you're not going to wear that lockout, and the more area it contacts, the more surface area that's touching the tang, the longer it's going to last. That's where Strider was kind of getting in trouble, where they were locking on the bottom like this. That little contact surface just kind of softened up not softened up the titanium, but titanium's kind of soft. So it squished over. I've got a whole video on that, where the lock face will mold itself to the tang of your knife, but then the lock travels over to the other side of the scale, and people get a little freaked out, but that's where they would just call that, the lock wearing in. I don't think there's going to be much wearing in with a design like this. But anyways, that's it. Everything is super precise, as precise as a Sebenza, I believe. And if you're looking for something that's in between like a Strider and a Sebenza, and maybe you don't want to grab a Hinder, because I think Hinder fills that gap pretty nice, you might want to look into this. It's still a very expensive blade, running right around $400 or so for both sides titanium. Maybe you could pick it up on the aftermarket a little cheaper. I'm not sure. Build quality is top notch. Very thick blade, very strong knife. I would say if the opportunity arose and you like the design here, I would have no qualms at all recommending this knife. I don't think they're getting the recognition that they need. But then again, he could be living under a rock, and these things could be wildly popular. I don't know. If they're not wildly popular, I think they should be. So, not getting paid to say that. It's just in for some work, and I just wanted to show you guys my findings, and I didn't want anybody else to have to void their warranty if they didn't want to. So you're not supposed to be taking them apart. Think it's a wonderful option. You want something higher end but a little bit different than what everybody else is carrying, the Sebenza or the Strider, you might want to look into Grayman. That's it, guys. Thanks.